Jamie Josta from Hatebreed, Kingdom of Sorrow, Josta. I run Hateware, I got my label, you know, I do a bunch of different stuff. I don't know, you know, it's hard because I really think it depends on the type of losses you've had and the type of injury you've had. You know, I just, when I got home from this last little run, I was going through my DVR and I saw that Leonard Garcia was fighting outside of UFC now. He was, I think he's in Legacy. So, and I thought, you know what? The losses that he had were because he was really putting a lot of risk out there. There was a lot of risk involved. So even the losses weren't really losses because there were great fights, there were wars, and I don't think he took so much damage where you would say, hey, go retire. He's one of those guys where you could say, go pick up 3-4 wins outside and then try to make a run at maybe a different weight class. I think once you've gone down a couple weight classes too, maybe that would, like someone like Kenny Florian who kept going down and losing, I would say, okay, you know, plus he's such a good broadcaster, you don't really need to be fighting, you know? So I really think it's a case-by-case thing, and with Shane, I was really hoping for him to go out on a win and to maybe sponsor him again and have him come out to the song, because the song I wrote, Anthem of the Freedom Fighter, the lyrics I changed at the last minute because I knew he wasn't going to use the song, but the music was actually based on a lot of his walkouts. I would watch tape of his walkouts and then I wrote the music to that, timing it so that the music would be perfect timing for him to walk from backstage, down the ramp or whatever, into the arena. And so the music was set up for that, but I think like right at the last minute Eminem or something happened with Eminem and he used the Eminem song, which is actually I heard is a curse. Everybody who's come out to the Eminem song I think has lost. But I don't know, that could just be a rumor. But I was hoping, man, it would be so cool if I could sponsor him one more time and have him come out to the Josta song. If anybody wants to check it out, it's on my self-titled solo album. It's called Anthem of the Freedom Fighter. And the music part, not the lyrics. The lyrics I changed at the last minute, like I said, because I knew he wasn't going to use it, so I didn't want it to be specific to him. But yeah, I don't know. Anybody else who's retired recently, you know?
Well, BJ did retire and then he's back now.
Yeah.
Diaz.
Yeah, those guys, those guys, there's so much value in what they do, and they're so compelling and so amazing to watch, and their stories are so intriguing that, and to me, they still seem comparatively young to some guys, you know? I don't know, I sponsored Mike Kyle recently in a CFA fight, and it was a brutal knockout of Travis View. How do you say his last name? View. And so I looked up Travis. I remember I've seen like a ton of his fights, and I don't think I realized that the guy's fought like 70 times. He's a warrior, much respect to him, but the last couple knockouts seemed really brutal and really fast. So maybe, you know, in that situation, maybe it is time. But I don't know. I think it's a case-by-case thing. I always say support the smaller promotions. There's a lot of fun, cool fights that are out there, you know, in a lot of the smaller promotions. You know, I like Bellator's product. I think that the tournament format is cool and interesting. I probably will get their pay-per-view, depending where we are on the globe with Tito and Rampage, just because I'm sponsoring Emmanuel and hopefully he's gonna kick King Mo's ass again. We'll see, you know. But I actually like King Mo. I think he's good for the sport. I think, you know, he's a fun guy to follow, and you know, his antics are cool to me, you know. When your heart is questioned. Probably Rain and Blood Slayer just because the first time I heard it, I want to say I was in the bedroom of my first band's my old band, the bass player Greg. I want to say he played it in his room, and you know, when I heard the rain and then the drums kick in, it was like terrifying, but it was like terrifying in like a great way where you just were like, I gotta see this, like I gotta see what these guys look like, and I think they were kind of you know, the first band where it was very screamy and heavy, but it still had a lot of like notey, melodic, kind of like really interesting things going on with the riffs, and the playing was superb. So it was short too. I think for my attention span, that was good because I always gravitated back to that record. I just got asked this the other night, and I was like, I answered real quick just because I was scanning through my brain, and I think Total Recall. I don't know why. I just love that movie. I've probably watched it 20 times, and I know like a lot of lines from it, and I was always a big Arnold fan. I like all those, you know, 80s, 90s, early 90s action movies. Oh, The Last Meal. I heard they did away with this, actually. I heard that a lot of states that still you know, endorse or employ the death penalty, they're doing away with it. But because guys would order like all this stuff and not eat it, and the taxpayers pay. There's actually a site that tells you what guys had, like famous, you know, murderers and creeps and weirdos. And I was looking at that, and somebody had like a bucket of fried chicken, a key lime pie, and I was like, man, that sounds pretty good to me. Like, because I don't normally eat fried chicken, but it's so good, like once in a blue moon. So I thought that maybe a lobster, surf and turf, 10-ounce filet, a little blue cheese, lobster tail, glass of wine or champagne. I don't drink, so it's my last. And if I'm going out, one's not gonna hurt, right? I don't know, man. It'd be nice to see Barnett avenge the Crow Cop losses. I think he has 2. Or maybe it'd be nice to see Fedor fight Brock or one of these monsters. Like, to see Fedor go out on a big win with a big name would be cool. Maybe it's still possible, I don't know. You hear stuff. Some of the super fights intrigue me. I don't want to see GSP fight Silver or any of these guys. It'd be nice to see him fight maybe somebody smaller. Plus he takes so much damage, and like he seems like such a great, nice guy. It bums me out like seeing him after the fight, and he just looks like Frankenstein. So those fights don't really intrigue me, but like Jones Silva, I think is really intriguing. I know as soon as we stop rolling, I'm gonna go, oh, you know, but that's probably it off the top of my head. Well, I probably can't say Slayer just because one night in Munich, I think it was, this is back in my drinking days, I drank a whole bottle of Grey Goose. I don't remember, but they told me that Tom lost his voice and they need me to go out and sing. Well, from what I was told, I went out there and I sang the words to Angel of Death over the song Rain and Blood. And it kind of like lines up. And I guess Carrie came over and like kicked me, like, what are you doing? You're an idiot. And so I probably lost that chance ever again just based off my drunken stupidity. Another reason why it's probably good that I haven't touched booze in 8 years. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, you know, I showed a little bit of versatility on my Jost album, and that was like a lot of work, you know, to have no auto-tune and no pitch correction and any of that stuff. It was all real takes that I had to nail and I had to be in key. So if it was a band like with real singing, it'd have to be somebody who I could, you know, mimic pretty good. Maybe AC/DC or somebody. Like that's, you know, not too technically tough.